our State House studio in Montgomery. I'm Todd Stacy. Welcome to Capitol Journal. Today was the 17th day of the Alabama Legislature's 2026 regular session. That means we have 13 more legislative days remaining between now and early April. We start our coverage tonight in the Alabama Senate, where a bill aimed at improving the early detection of breast cancer passed unanimously today. House Bill 300 from State Representative Francis Holt Jones of Foley and carried in the Senate by State Senator Linda Coleman Madison of Birmingham would require state-regulated health insurance plans to cover diagnostic and supplemental breast imaging, including follow-up tests after an abnormal mammogram, with no out-of-pocket costs to the patient. Supporters say the change will help more women get timely screenings. Coleman Madison was joined by State Senator Steve Livingston of Scottsboro in highlighting the bipartisan effort behind the bill.
But if there is something that they found in your breasts, there are a number of women with disc breasts and they have to have additional screenings, that is not covered. And I have had a number of my friends that received letters to say, you need to go for a supplemental screening or additional screenings. We found something, it doesn't look normal. And I've had friends say, well, I've gone every year, nothing is coming, and they don't go. Well, that screening that they need to get is the difference between life and death.
And it's important that we take care of this. I've lost a wife to cancer. I've lost my sister to cancer. My friend has lost her two brothers to cancer this year. Anything we can do to prevent that and get early detection is very important. And it'll make a difference in Alabama's lives. And it's bipartisan.
It's bipartisan. It's about keeping Alabamians healthy.
That bill now heads to Governor Kay Ivey's desk. The Senate also passed a bill aimed at limiting routine vessel stops by law enforcement. House Bill 254 is sponsored in the House by State Representative Shane Stringer of Citronelle and carried in the Senate by State Senator Chris Elliott of Josephine. It would prohibit Marine Patrol officers from stopping or boarding boats on Alabama waters solely for safety or safety checks or marine sanitation inspections. Officers must have an underlying reason before making a stop under the bill. While the measure passed unanimously, Democrats attempted to link the previous authority allowing officers to stop any boat for safety checks to concerns about possible profiling.
Stop somebody just because. Just to check.
Just messing with folk.
I have a lot of respect for our law enforcement. I have a lot of respect for our Marine police that do this. I see them on a regular basis.
They see you, they know your boat.
They do indeed. But at the end of the day, they ought to have some underlying reason to come aboard to do an inspection.
So by you making this, it discourages what I'm talking about here, in my opinion. I'm not saying that's your intent now. I'm not gonna put that on you. But I'm just saying that's my intent for feeling good about it, because I know that if you do have to stop me, I've done something that would justify versus just because of how I look.
That bill now also heads to Governor Ivey's desk. The House today passed legislation that would offer scholarships for families of law enforcement officers. House Bill 98 is sponsored by State Representative Alan Treadaway of Birmingham, himself a career law enforcement officer. He said the funding mechanism is already there, and it will help police departments recruit officers.
We passed out of here unanimously last year, got up to the Senate, and it was the last bill, and then did not get voted on. But this is part of the public safety package of the governor and the speaker from last year. And it's the tuition for law enforcement spouses and family members.
I spent 21 years, as you know, in law enforcement. I know what struggles law enforcement officers have to do, especially on salaries that most make. And I know most of us had to work multiple jobs to do that career. Right. And this is important. It's important for those families in law enforcement. And thank you for bringing it, and I support it.
What about the number of children? So if you are an officer and have 10 kids or 5 kids, could each one of those children seek the reimbursement?
Yes, they would be eligible.
Okay. I just couldn't remember last year somebody had called me on it, and I don't know why I thought it passed.
Yeah. Well, actually, the money has actually been moved over. So the money's sitting there. We just need to get this bill passed so we can start.
And how much is it?
I believe there's around $8 million that's already sitting there in higher ed. The rules have already been promulgated. So the rules are there. Everything's in place. We just got to get this bill passed. We're trying to address a retention recruitment issue with law enforcement. We're critically short in the state of Alabama. Just in Jefferson County alone, where you live. Those fine officers you're talking about.
You don't live in Jefferson County.
You know, I do. But those fine officers you're talking about, this is going to give them a benefit to stay there and continue to do the job they're doing.
But I'm asking about the firemen and other public servants also. I mean, if you haven't found it, then maybe there's a situation where we need to do the research and sort of help them too, because with our firemen, you don't have an overabundance people volunteering there, and they do their very best also.
Love my firemen.
Yeah, me too, you know. So I was just wondering.
Yeah.
That bill now heads to the Senate. The House took a moment today to honor Montgomery Sheriff Derek Cunningham, who was recently named National Sheriff of the Year by the National Sheriff's Association. Members presented him with a resolution in his honor and recognized him on the House floor.
With great pride and special pleasure, we highly honor Montgomery County Sheriff Derek Cunningham for being named the 2026 Ferris E. Lucas Sheriff of the Year by the National Sheriff's Association. And whereas Derek Cunningham was born in Tacoma, Washington, and moved to Tuscaloosa, Alabama with his family when he was 12 years old. Prior to graduating from Tuscaloosa County High School, he joined the Alabama National Guard in 1984, proudly serving until he retired with 24 years of service. And whereas he graduated from the Police Academy in 1989, within 10 years, he had worked his way up to the Detective Division investigating homicides. He later became a member of the International Homicide Investigators Association. In 1999, Montgomery County Sheriff Steve Marshall appointed him as Chief Deputy, and he served in that capacity for 15 years. And whereas in 2015, he was sworn in as Montgomery County's first African-American sheriff.
Not a person that does a lot of talking, but thank you all. This means a lot, and I wouldn't be able to do anything if it weren't for these two. I mean, you see the head all the time, but you don't see the body. And that body is what really carries me, and it helps our citizens in this great city, in this great county. And I mean, thank you all for recognizing, and I really do appreciate Montgomery. Montgomery really recognized us and put us where we're at today, and thank y'all.
We've been anticipating legislation this year on career and technical education. And today, a 3-bill package was introduced through House Speaker Nathaniel Ledbetter to strengthen Alabama's career tech offerings through funding and improved programming. A joint resolution calls for $150 million of additional funding for career tech this year. The other bills provide a tax credit to incentivize industry to hire locally trained workers and streamline the teacher certification process for experienced career tech instructors who are relocating to Alabama. Speaker Ledbetter says the legislation is among his top priorities this session.
We've been working on the career tech facilities and that initiative for probably a year now. We started last year, if you remember, we put $100 million to expand and build new career tech facilities. So we got a package of bills that'll be coming out that'll be about career techs and trying to expand those and trying to help build some new ones and get more kids that's not going to college, give them an opportunity to find a trade. So we've worked on that quite a bit. We've had 2 different meetings with industry across the state. The first meeting, I think we had over 40 industries from every corner of the state. Yesterday we met with that group again, and the conversation has been very productive. It was kind of interesting to know that we're trying to train kids to go into the fields that they have, but we've never sat down and talked to them until this package of bills. So it's changed the dialogue a little bit, rightfully so, because they know what they need, and we can't keep doing the same thing we've always done. We got to kind of change the pattern we're in, and I think we're in the process of doing that.
We reported yesterday that the bill to make the Alabama Public Service Commission an appointed rather than an elected body will not get a vote this legislative session. Senate President Pro Tem Garland Gudger said that the bill reforming the PSC moved too fast and without enough input from the public. Today, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville weighed in on the issue. He's obviously running to be the state's next governor and had previously come out in support of the plan. He told reporters that he supports Gudger's decision but wants to dig deeper on the issue of energy affordability.
And it is important. It's important that we all look at this. It's a bill that we have to make sure we understand the direction of where it's going. Okay, I'm all for Senator Gudger on pulling this bill up and giving us the opportunity to relook at this. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that whoever's elected to the PSC board is being elected by the constituents in this state and not dark money coming from other states, because it's happening. It happened in Georgia. So we're all recognizing that now. We have to be very protective. I want to make sure we do this the right way. I said this before, you know, the biggest thing for manufacturing in this state is, and recruiting, is to make sure we have power, we have water, and we have transportation. So Alabama shouldn't be paying high power bills because all these companies are coming in. But the thing we need to do is we need to make sure we look at a possibility of having somebody oversee all the things in our state that has to do with energy. And I'm looking very seriously at when and if possibly winning the governor's race of having a Department of Energy that can help the people of the state. We do not need higher power bills, but we need somebody overlooking TVA, Alabama Power, the gas companies, everybody that has to do with power in our state. We have to make sure that we have good leadership there. So looking at that, keeping all the green money out is so important, but also helping the people of the great state of Alabama with somebody that is truly understanding what's going on in our state when it comes to energy.
Congressman Mike Rogers was in the capital city today, speaking to the Montgomery Chamber of Commerce. As the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, Rogers is a key player in writing the annual National Defense Authorization Act. He offered an update on defense funding today, saying the United States needs to spend more on national defense to deter aggression from China.
We have allowed our defense industry to shrink and atrophy to an unacceptable level. When we can't keep the Ukrainians in bullets, that's a problem. So we have really had a wake-up call that while we're still not in a conflict with anybody, while nobody's attacking us, we got to get to getting. What we showed the president was, if you'll stay in the 4 to 5% of defense spending, we're healthy, and bad things don't happen. People don't mess with you when they know it's going to turn out bad. When Reagan was president, he took us to over 6% of GDP spending for defense. And guess what? It broke the back of the Soviet Union. Those people that are my age or close to it will remember Gorbachev just had to tap out. They couldn't keep up. And in fact, they had spent so much trying to stay in the Cold War with us that the whole Soviet Union just collapsed because they were broke. What I want us to do, though, is outbuild them now so we don't get into a war. It's all about the peace through strength strategy. If we can get ourselves in a healthier position, we will not get into a serious conflict. There may be little things that we got to deal with from time to time, but not something serious that we really have to worry about, existential. And I can't overstate, that's where China's going. China wants to be not only the dominant economic power on the planet, they want to be the dominant military power on the planet.
We'll take a short break and be back with tonight's guest, Alabama High School Athletic Association Executive Director Heath Harmon. Stay with us.
You can watch past episodes of Capitol Journal online anytime at Alabama Public Television's website, aptv.org. Click on the Online Video tab on the main page. You can also connect with Capitol Journal and link to past episodes on Capitol Journal's Facebook page.
Welcome back to Capitol Journal. Joining me next is Heath Harmon, Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Mr. Harmon, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
busy time right now. Basketball tournament about to start and everything. So I know y'all are pretty busy.
Yeah, we have a lot going on. Just wrapped up our 4 regional basketball tournaments, which feeds into our state finals tournament, which is fixing to kick off. So we're excited.
Yeah. The Elite 8 becomes the Final 4. So I'm excited about that too. We'll get to that here in a minute. But some more newsy topics. Y'all are in the news a lot these days. I wanted to ask you about this reclassification thing. It came out recently where public schools will have one championship track in high school athletics. Private schools will have a different championship track. I want to ask you how the Athletic Association, I guess your board, came to that decision.
Yeah, so reclassification occurs every 2 years. The central board is in charge of classification of schools. And of course, they give me direction on kind of what plans to produce and to look at the schools and the numbers and all those things. And we have a classification meeting. Typically, it happens in December, but we had ours in January this year and looked at several issues that schools were bringing to us. We have a classification committee, which is made up of representatives of a lot of different schools across the state, and they're an advisory committee, and so issues that schools might have with classification. You know, when you look at the classification of public and private schools, one of the things that happened several years ago was the multiplier. So you would take private schools, and when you looked at their enrollment, you would multiply 1.35 to get their enrollment. Several years after that, there was competitive balance put in place where by team, according to your success, if you were a private school, you may play up above even that classification. So there was some concerns voiced, about the multiplier, about, competitive balance and things like that. And from the standpoint of some advantages that public schools feel like private schools had, there was reasons that people like those being in place. So this gives us an opportunity. I think it's a very exciting opportunity to remove the multiplier, competitive balance. There's great benefits to membership, and nobody's doing anything according to membership of the association. It's just once we get to the playoffs, there's 2 distinct pathways to travel through to the championship. So I think it's something that we'll live through for the next 2 years, and we have a classification committee that will continue to look at it. Also coming out of that board meeting, we established another advisory committee will be made up of just members from private schools. So our 8 districts, when they have their district meetings in the spring, they select members from all of our committees, our sports committees, we have a superintendent's committee, different things like that, principals committee. And so they're going to select a private school member to be on our independent and private schools committee. So we'll get lots of great input from them. Our district meetings started about a couple of weeks ago, and they'll wrap up late April. And so we'll be able to have our first meeting with our private independent schools committee in June at some point. So we're excited about that, and I think this is provides us with some exciting opportunities.
You've had a lot of criticism about this, including in this building, and mostly from private schools, and parents from private schools, things like that, saying, man, we really like it the way it was. We like competing with the public schools. A lot of them throughout the state have had a lot of success. You've got some dynasties out there that have competed. So how do you respond to that criticism? Hey, it was working just fine, and, separating the two, kind of leaves out the private school community.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that first of all, with classification, there's always criticism after classification. Now, this is probably more well-known, people understanding this classification. Our website crashed the day that we released classification because we had so many people trying to figure out, because it's a big deal, and we're glad that it's a big deal. But I think like anything else, when you change, there's going to be some criticism. But I think the way our association is set up, we're over 100 years old, and the reason that our association has been able to last is because of our legislative process, our process of getting input from schools. So I think as we go through these next 2 years, we will have some things happen that people really like. We'll have some things that people feel like we need to work on as far as our member schools, and they'll follow their process to suggest those changes. And we just will always try to get better every reclassification period.
Can you explain that process of rulemaking and classification, or whatever it is? Because there have been some things. First, it was the Choose Act thing that came down. Now it was reclassification. And so we see these headlines come out. We see press releases or whatnot. but I think our viewers would benefit from knowing how these things even get started. How does the Athletic Association go through a rulemaking process?
Yeah, great question. So I think that's the strength of our association. So basically what happens is every year in January, we open up the opportunity for all member schools to make proposals for anything they want to change according to our Constitution or bylaws. So if we have a rule that they don't like, that they want to change, they make that proposal. And so that happens the month of January. On January 31st, that window closes. Takes me and my staff a week or so to review all those proposals to see, make sure that they are related to a bylaw or constitution, because like for example, if it's about a sports rule, we follow the National Federation rules for our sports. So if it's about changing a football rule, we have to pull that out because we're only looking for proposals that would change our constitution or bylaws. So once we have those, we put those out to our schools from February 16th to March 20th for them to vote on. So all of the schools, the coaches and people at the school will talk to their principal. The principal is the person who casts the vote. Principals will go in and cast the vote. All of those votes are tallied, and then on April 15th at our Legislative Council meeting, we have our 8 district boards that come together and review all of those proposals, and a 2/3 vote would ratify that to be a rule change. If it's not ratified, then no change is made. If it's ratified, then it goes into effect for the next year. So our schools literally make the rules. Our office is charged with enforcing them as written, but that's the process of how our schools make our rules.
Okay, that's a lot more comprehensive and complicated than I knew, and I would imagine a lot of folks out there. But it's good to know because, I mean, it's like with college sports. I mean, there's always kind of controversy and everything, and a little peek behind the curtain can go a long way. All right, let's talk basketball. You're through the Elite Eight, about to have the Final Four. What do we need to know? When do things start? Because obviously we're airing it here on Alabama Public Television.
Yeah, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate that partnership, the opportunity for people to view these games. There's you all playoffs are some form of bracket, but it's just something about a basketball bracket and getting to that Elite Eight and then making it to the Final Four. And I just think the way the regional tournaments are set up, and that's what I would also encourage people, hope that people understand, in high school athletics, it's based on region. We want everybody from that region of the state, those teams, to have an opportunity to make it into the playoffs and into advance. So you have your 4 regional sites that those teams, if they make it out of there, they advance to Birmingham for our Final Four.
Yeah, we had one over here at Alabama State. I live over by Alabama State, and I saw all the buses and cheerleaders and teams and everything, so that was pretty cool.
And it's good because the regional sites provide them an opportunity for more fans to show up. There's lots of support, great energy and environments. It's just a really special opportunity for the schools and the teams. And so then when you make it to Birmingham, it's set up to where it is the Final Four. So there are, the first game, if you win it, then you make it to the championship. And so Saturday morning, we'll bring all the coaches in. We'll have a brunch. We'll just celebrate, their accomplishment, give them all the main details they need to know for the week. And then it starts Monday morning at 9 o'clock and goes all the way through to Saturday. So lots of basketball if you can tune in or if you can show up. It's going to be very entertaining, exciting, education-based athletics at its best.
Absolutely. We encourage everybody to tune in. And we love hosting it here on Alabama Public Television. Sometimes it means Capitol Journal's a little later. That's okay because we get brand new viewers to tune in to what's happening in the legislature. Well, Mr. Harmon, thanks for coming on the show. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I know that y'all are losing Caleb Ross, Director of Football for the association, going back to coaching, right?
Yeah.
And so good shout out to Caleb Ross, good Prattville guy. And he's being replaced?
Yes. So first of all, very thankful for Caleb and the job that he did, and wish him best in his next deal. But we just hired Brent Bedsole. Many people know Brent. He has great connections throughout the state. He'll be our director of football and baseball, among other duties. And we're also going to post a job where we're gonna hire an assistant director among other duties. That person will also directly oversee our private school championships. So we have a lot of things concerning private schools where we want to make sure that they have a voice with the addition of the committee, and then with a staff member that, among other things, there'll be other jobs that they'll do, but also really keep an eye on our private school championships and making sure that they have a great experience and they have, their voice is heard. And like I said earlier, we just want to be the best we can be.
Good to know. Mr. Harmon, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Alabama Public Television is your place for quality educational services. Free professional development for educators and child care providers. Access to free curriculum-aligned videos, lesson plans, and instructional resources with PBS Learning Media. And all the PBS Kids programs parents know and trust. Learn something new every day with Alabama Public Television. Visit us at aptv.org/education to learn more.
You can watch past episodes of Capital Journal online anytime at Alabama Public Television's website, aptv.org. Click on the Online Video tab on the main page. You can also connect with Capital Journal and link to past episodes on Capital Journal's Facebook page.
That's our show for tonight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for our Week in Review episode. That's 7:30 here on Alabama Public Television. For our Capital Journal team, I'm Todd Stacy. We'll see you next time.